economic relationship between Canada and the United States is one of the closest and most interdependent in the world. With trade valued at over $700 billion annually, the U.S. remains Canada's largest trading partner. However, this deep connection also makes Canada vulnerable to American economic policies, particularly tariffs. Tariffs, taxes imposed on imported goods, can significantly impact Canadian industries, from manufacturing to agriculture. Historically, Canada has faced various U.S. tariffs, including on softwood lumber, steel, aluminum, and dairy. Given the economic weight of the U.S., many wonder, can Canada survive the impact of American tariffs? The answer depends on several factors, including trade diversification, government responses, and the ability of Canadian industries to adapt. This article explores how tariffs affect Canada and whether the country can withstand economic pressure from its southern neighbor. 1. The importance of U.S. Canada trade. The U.S. and Canada share a vast trade relationship governed largely by agreements like 1. The United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA. This replaced NAFTA in 2020 and facilitates trade among the three North American nations. 2. World Trade Organization, WTO rules. Both countries are members and subject to international trade regulations. Canada exports nearly 75% of its goods to the U.S., making it highly reliant on American markets. This reliance means that tariffs imposed by the U.S. can significantly impact Canadian businesses, industries, and employment. However, Canada is not without leverage. The U.S. also heavily depends on Canadian imports, particularly in energy, raw materials, and auto parts. This mutual dependency makes tariffs a double-edged sword. 2. Sectors most vulnerable to U.S. tariff. Several key sectors in Canada are particularly sensitive to American tariffs. A. Manufacturing and the auto industry. The North American auto industry is deeply integrated, with Canadian factories supplying essential parts to U.S. automakers. Tariffs on auto parts or vehicles could disrupt supply chains and cause significant job losses, particularly in Ontario, which is home to many auto manufacturers. B. Energy sector. Canada is the largest supplier of crude oil to the U.S. While energy trade has generally been free of major tariffs, any restrictions on Canadian oil and gas could be damaging. However, the expansion of pipelines like Trans Mountain is helping Canada find alternative markets, such as Asia. See agriculture and dairy. Agriculture is another area where American tariffs have historically impacted Canada. The U.S. has long targeted Canada's dairy supply management system, arguing that it creates unfair trade barriers. If additional tariffs were imposed on agricultural products, Canadian farmers would face significant losses. D. Metals and lumber. The U.S. has imposed tariffs on Canadian softwood lumber multiple times, most recently in 2017. These tariffs increase costs for U.S. home builders, but also hurt Canadian exporters. Similarly, tariffs on steel and aluminum in 2018 disrupted trade and led to retaliatory tariffs by Canada. 3. How Canada can mitigate the impact of U.S. tariffs. Despite the challenges, Canada has strategies to cushion the impact of American tariffs. A. Trade diversification. Canada has been actively expanding its trade relationships to reduce reliance on the U.S. Major agreements include 1. Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, with the European Union. 2. Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, CPTPP. 3. Strengthening trade with China, Japan, and India. Increasing exports to these regions, Canada can offset some of the damage caused by American tariffs. B. Government countermeasures. In response to U.S. tariffs, Canada has taken various measures. 1. Retaliatory tariffs. When the U.S. imposed tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum in 2018, Canada responded with counter-tariffs on American products, including whiskey and ketchup. 1. This made the trade war costly for both sides and helped force negotiations. 2. Subsidies and support for affected industries. The Canadian government has provided financial aid to industries hurt by tariffs, such as steel and aluminum manufacturers. C. Encouraging domestic consumption and production. If Canadian industries become less reliant on exports and focus more on domestic markets, they can better withstand tariffs. Government incentives to boost local production, infrastructure investment, and innovation can help achieve this goal. 4. Long-term adaptation to U.S. tariff. The long run, Canada must focus on reducing its vulnerability to American trade policies. Some strategies include A. Strengthening North American supply chains. While U.S. tariffs pose a threat, closer cooperation between Canadian and Mexican businesses can help reduce reliance on American imports. Joint ventures and intracontinental supply chains can lessen the impact of U.S. tariffs. B. Enhancing domestic manufacturing. Investing in domestic industries, automation, and technological innovation can make Canadian companies more competitive globally. If Canada produces more high-value goods, rather than relying on raw material exports, it can better withstand trade disruptions. C. Promoting alternative energy markets. As Canada moves towards renewable energy, investing in new energy partnerships can reduce reliance on U.S. exports. Countries in Asia and Europe are potential customers for Canadian clean energy and natural gas. 5. Can Canada survive U.S. tariffs? The short answer is yes, but with some difficulties. While American tariffs can cause economic disruption, Canada has several tools to mitigate the impact. 1. Diversifying trade partners to reduce dependency on the U.S. 2. Using countermeasures like retaliatory tariffs and government aid. 3. Investing in domestic industries to create more self-sufficiency. 4. Strengthening partnerships with Mexico and other allies. Historically, Canada has shown resilience in dealing with American economic pressures. While tariffs may cause short-term challenges, Canada's long-term economic stability depends on its ability to adapt, innovate, and build stronger trade relationships beyond its southern neighbor. Conclusion: American tariffs present a serious challenge to Canada, but they are not an insurmountable obstacle. Canada's strong economic foundations, trade diversification efforts, and government responses provide a path to resilience. While trade disputes with the U.S. are likely to continue, Canada's ability to adapt and find new markets will determine how well it weathers the impact. As the global economy evolves, Canada must continue to strengthen its industries, explore new trading opportunities, and reduce its vulnerability to American trade policies. While the road ahead may be challenging, Canada has the resources and strategies to survive and even thrive despite U.S. tariffs.